Okay, we're going to take a look at the quadrilateral family tree and how this breaks out. We're just going to be looking at the first side here in this first video, and it will focus on parallelograms. So the first question that we need to ask ourselves is a shape a quadrilateral? And the best way that we can determine that is, does it have four sides? Does it have four angles? All right, and so in this example, yeah, four sides, four angles. Then we can go one step further and say with a parallelogram, all right, it has these two properties, four sides, four angles, four sides, four angles, but then add something. Does it have two pair of parallel sides? Well, when we take a closer look, we see that there are two pair of parallel sides. We have one side, or one set that is, from here to here. So these two sides are parallel, and these two sides here. So that makes the object a parallelogram. Then we're going to kind of make a little split here in our family tree. So let's go with what we're familiar with, the rectangle. It's going to have kind of the same properties. Four sides, four sides, four sides. Four angles, four angles, four right angles. All right, and so this is very important. Now remember, a right angle is a 90-degree angle, and it looks like the corner on an edge of a piece of paper. So it would come down and then straight across. So that what it ends up doing is making this like squared off right here. And we even use that symbol, that little square, showing that that is a right angle, 90 degrees. So in our example right here with the rectangle, four right angles, two pairs of parallel sides, which is the same right here, two pair of parallel sides, and two pair of sides that are of equal length. So when we take a look at our rectangle, we have a set of parallel lines here. So one from here to here, and here to here. And our second set is from right there and right there. So two sets of parallel lines. And then let's zoom in we'll zoom in a lot so we can make sure that we get this. Then we need to look at four right angles. So right here we've got our right angles, our 90-degree angles, indicated by our symbol that says that that's 90 degrees. And then two pairs of sides that are of equal length. And how we determine that are with kind of like little line slashes. So let's get those put in. So now we've got our symbols. Let's zoom back in here. And see that we've got four sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, four right angles, 1, 2, 3, 4, two pair of parallel sides, so blue and blue, red and red, and two pair of sides that are equal length. So the red side here, these are equal length, indicated by one hash mark there, and then two pair, the other pair of equal side are the two blue ones here, indicated with 2 uh, hash lines. So that's what makes that a rectangle. Now let's come over here to rhombus, and we'll notice a few things that are slightly different. So we have 4 sides. We have 4 sides. We have 4 angles, and then we have 4 right angles. We have 2 pair of parallel lines, 2 pair of parallel lines, and then 4 sides that are of equal length, where here we just had 2. So the major differences here are the angles, where here we had just angles, and right here we had right angles. And here we've got 4 sides that are of equal length, and here we just have 2 pair. All right, so here is a set here that are the same, a set here that are the same, but right here we've got all 4 are the same. So looking at our rhombus and getting our symbols in, we have our 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can get that one checked off. And then the 4 angles, these happen to be right angles, but really and truly a rhombus does not need to be at a right angle. All right. And so for this example right here, probably a better example of what a rhombus might look like, it could look like this, as long as the sides are the same length. So that too, that also is a rhombus. All right, parallel lines here. So there's 1 set and 2 sets, or 2 sides, I should say. That's 1 set, and then the blue right here would be the other set. And then we would just need to make sure that all 4 sides are the same length. So we do have 4 angles, 2 pair of parallel sides. We've shown that, the 2 blues and the 2 reds, and then 4 sides that are of equal length. So that's our indicator right there. So that's what makes a rhombus. A rhombus. Now let's come down to the square. And the square seems to have properties from both of these up here. So let's take a closer look here. 4 sides, well, that's what we've been dealing with so far, 4 sides. 4 right angles, all right? So we're going to get our Q here, all right, from the rectangle family. All right, so 4 right angles comes right there. And let me get us backed up here just a little bit so we can see everything. And then 2 pair of parallel sides, that's the same in both of them. And then 4 sides that are equal. And that is where we get right here. Okay, our 4 sides that are equal. So, taking a look here at the square, our properties for the square, we have 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 right angles, just like our rectangle up here. two pair of parallel sides, so the red and then the blue, and then four sides that are equal length. So we would show that with just the one hash mark right here. So a square has some principles of the rectangle and then some of the rhombus. Now, the bigger question becomes, when is it that a rhombus and a square are the same thing, or a rectangle and a square are the same thing, and when are they not? And that is going to be our next task that we look at. So let's get ready to move to that next challenge. So we have a shape right down here. I am not going to name the shape yet because we're not 100% sure of what it is. But we're going to go through each of these properties. All right, and I've kind of got these lined up much the same way that we saw here in this family tree. So looking at this shape right here, does it have four sides? And does it have four angles? Yes. Yes, it does. All right. So this shape down here is a quadrilateral. Does this shape right here, does it have four sides, four angles, and then two pair of parallel lines? Well, it certainly looks that way. So once we get our markers in here, four sides, four angles, and then two pair parallel sides. We've got our red side and our blue side. So parallelogram, yes, we have a parallelogram. That is a yes. All right, now let's come down to here. Do we have, let's start here with our rectangle. Do we have four sides? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do we have four right angles? Well, if we were to take a piece of paper and line this up, or use a tool called a protractor, and later on we'll in your grades as you get older, you'll learn how to use a protractor. But for right now, we hold up a sheet of paper and see if those corners match up. So we'll check, make sure that those are right angles, which they are right angles. So we've got that indicator in there. Two pair of parallel lines, we've already established that. So red and red, and blue and blue. And then two pair of sides that are of equal length. So does our red sides here and our blue sides here, do they equal the same length? And we can see once we get our symbols in here, yes. The two blue sides we will have with the two hash marks, and then the two red sides, those equal the same. So let's get here. We've got our four sides, four right angles, two sets of parallel sides, and two pair of sides that are of equal length. So what do we have right here? We have a rectangle. All right, do we have a rhombus? Well, we've got four sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, four angles, all right, two pair of parallel sides. So we've got parallel sides here and here, and parallel sides here and here. And then four sides that are of equal length. And if we get our ruler out, we will see that they are equal length. So we change the hash marks here from the 2 to the 1. So we have, for sure, a rhombus. Now we take a really quick look here at the four angles. All right. we do have angles. They just happen to be a special kind of angle, a right angle. All right. So now if we look at the square, what do we have with the square? Well, do we have four sides? Yes. Do we have four right angles? Yes. Do we have two pair of parallel sides? Yes. And do we have four sides that are equal length? And the answer to that is also yes. So this figure down here, while we typically would refer to it as a square, is also a rectangle, is also a rhombus, is also a parallelogram, and is also a quadrilateral. Okay? Now, just because that square is a rectangle, that does not mean that all rectangles are squares. And just because that square is a rhombus does not mean that all rhombuses are squares. We have to go through this checklist to make sure that we are correctly identifying these shapes. So that's going to take care of part one of the family tree. We'll get some practice with that and move to part two in a bit.